So this week, the Packers will be facing the Minnesota Vikings, currently sitting at 4-6, the bottom of the NFC North. And the Packers have a lot of big-time games coming up to end the season, a lot of NFC North matchups. 5 of the next 7 games are against NFC North opponents. And when we look at this Minnesota Vikings team, looking at how they're performing right now, it does make you wonder if the Vikings themselves wish that they had not moved on from Sam Darnold after they win 14 games. They're currently sitting at 4-6, and they've gone back and forth between J.J. McCarthy and Carson Wentz, each playing 5 games. And recently with J.J. McCarthy coming back after being injured, he has not played well. He's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. 6 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, a 61.7 passer rating, which is 34th in the NFL per NFL Pro. And so J.J. McCarthy, being a young quarterback, he's been inconsistent. He's been inconsistent when it comes to accuracy, and he's made a lot of poor decisions. And right now, the Vikings offense is currently 22nd in scoring in the NFL, 27th in yards, 23rd in pass yards per game, 25th in rush yards per game. And so I think this Packers defense is going to have another solid performance here. Last week against the Giants, there were some really long drives the Giants had where they're just, 15, 16 play drives. And that's what we see sometimes with this Packers defense, just because they do keep everything in front of them. And while they don't allow a ton of explosive plays, there are some drives where it's like, okay, can you get off the field a little bit faster? And offenses will just slowly, 3 yards here, 5 yards here, 6 yards here, just, keep the ball a long time. And hopefully we can see less of that in this game. And we saw the Packers, they had a ton of opportunities last week against the Giants when it came to turnovers. They dropped, 3 or 4 of them. They had one, Evan Williams did at the end there. And so hopefully we can see them, have a few opportunities here, because J.J. McCarthy has been pretty turnover prone as he's been playing. And the Vikings still do have Aaron Jones, who's been pretty good this season, 4.9 yards per carry. Also, Jordan Mason at 4.5. Jones had 4.9 yards a carry. Jordan Mason at 4.5 yards per carry. And looking at the Vikings offensive line, run blocking, they're really good. According to ESPN, 3rd in run block win rate. A lot worse in pass blocking, 22nd in pass block win rate, and they do have the 5th most sacks allowed and 23rd in pressure rate allowed per NFL Pro. So I do think this is a matchup where the Packers pass rush is going to have a lot of opportunities. And looking at this Packers pass rush, I think that, Micah Parsons has been dominant. Outside of Micah Parsons, since Lucas Van Ness has been down, Rashawn Gary, Kingsley Enagbare, they've been okay, but they haven't been great. And it's honestly pretty interesting looking at some of these overall statistics for the Packers pass rush. It's not been, top tier. 18th in pressure percentage, tied for 16th in sacks at 24, 10th in pass rush win rate. They do blitz at one of the lowest rates in the NFL at 31st in the NFL in blitz rate. And so Micah Parsons, he has been the main difference maker here. And I think that once Lucas Van Ness comes back, he was playing even better than Rashawn Gary and Enagbare at times when you look at his pass rush win rate per PFF. But I do think this is a matchup where the Packers pass rush will be able to take advantage. And we've seen how dominant this Packers defense is. And of course, the biggest thing in this game is shutting down Justin Jefferson. We've seen, because J.J. McCarthy has struggled, Jefferson hasn't been, quite as productive. He currently is leading the Vikings, 747 yards, 93 targets, 74.7 yards per game. And honestly, I want to see Carrington Valentine out there on him a lot, because I think that Valentine, he's a super physical corner. I like just his physicality, aggressiveness he plays with, but the Packers need to, find a way to, not allow Jefferson to really, torch them or beat them deep. And the Packers have done a pretty good job this year at, not allowing a lot of those big explosive plays. But so far in the season, the main categories defensively, the Packers have been very good. 7th in scoring, 6th in yards allowed, and 3rd in yards per play allowed. And I do think this is a Vikings offense that has just shown to be, a bottom 10 unit in most statistical categories. Now, one area where they have been pretty good just overall is rush yards per play. They're currently 8th in the NFL. I think, though, that, when you're not putting up a ton of points, you're throwing a lot of interceptions, you're not able to really rely on the run all game long. And so because of that, they've had to rely more on the pass, and it hasn't really gone very well. So I really do favor the Packers defense in this one against this Vikings offense, who has struggled in a very, very big way. Now to the Packers offense. The Packers offense has been inconsistent. Thankfully, we saw them bounce back last week, putting up 27 points against the Giants defense. This Vikings defense, they're a pretty good unit. I mean, they're 16th in points allowed, so average there, but 10th in yards allowed. But one area where they are pretty solid is their pass rush. Third in pass rush win rate per ESPN, and then they're second in pressure rate in the NFL, getting pressure 40.2% of the time. So they get to the quarterback a lot, and they do have the highest blitz rate in the NFL at 45%. And so the Packers offensive line is going to have to play a really good game here to keep Jordan Love clean. And I was curious to see how Jordan Love has played against the blitz this season. And according to PFF, he's actually been better against the blitz than when not blitzed. He has a 110.3 passer rating when blitzed versus a 99.5 passer rating when not blitzed. And so this is going to be a game where the Packers will be tested when it comes to their offensive line, as the Vikings love to blitz and create a lot of pressure in that way. And so we'll see if the Packers offensive line can hold up. And I mean, we've seen Jordan Love even last week when the line breaks down. He's so good at breaking away, making plays, things like that. We just have to hope the Packers pass catchers can actually, catch the ball this week. I mean, there were so many different drops last week, and thankfully, despite that, the Packers were still able to, put up 27 points. Now, one of the big things to watch for this game is whether or not Josh Jacobs will be playing. He didn't practice yesterday. We'll see if he's able to get back today. And if he isn't able to go, I do have a lot of confidence in Emmanuel Wilson. He is currently averaging more yards per carry this season than Josh Jacobs. Wilson's at 4.2 to Josh Jacobs' 3.8. And so I don't think that if Josh Jacobs can't play, that it's the end of the world for the Packers. I think that Emmanuel Wilson is a solid backup and could be able to produce at a similar rate. I mean, he has so far this season, as I said, in yards per carry. So I'm not too concerned if Jacobs goes down, but hopefully he's able to play in this one. And I think at the end of the day, we've seen how good Jordan Love is, and that's the reason the Packers won the game last week, was because despite the drops, I mean, Jordan Love played one of the best games of his this entire season, and he currently this season 15 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions, a 103.2 passer rating. He's been much more accurate than in years past, and hopefully we can just see the Packers offense be more consistent, because that's been their issue this year, inconsistency. Of course, when you lose Tucker Kraft, things get a lot harder there. And we saw Christian Watson come through in a big way last game, 2 touchdowns. And I think that, if the Packers can get those drop issues figured out and not have the same problem this game, I do think, despite what the Vikings defensive line can do, if Jordan Love can play like he did last week, the Packers can catch the ball. I do think they'll probably win this game. Now, the big question here, it comes down to what this offensive line does. Can they handle the Vikings pass rush? That's probably the biggest thing for this Packers offense going into this game. But my score prediction for this game, I do think the Packers will win this one, mainly due to how poor the Vikings offense has been and my confidence in what this Packers defense will do in this game. And so I'm going to say the Packers win this game 21-16. Feel free to comment your score prediction in the comment section down below. If you like more Packers content, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.